Hello friends, here's a one-shot tutorial on how to do stem separation inside of Audacity. Now Audacity is our favorite free digital audio workstation. You've probably used it before if you've done anything with media, but there's no reason to spend money on removing the vocals from a song if you're a singer and you want to do karaoke, or removing the drums or the guitar or the bass if you're a musician and you want to play along and have that music minus one kind of a track. So I'm going to show you how to do that for free inside of Audacity. So I'm going to bring a song in that I wrote. This has drum tracks. It's a full mix. Okay, so it's kind of electronic song. Doesn't matter what kind of song it is, but I want to take the drums out or just do a general separation of all of the stems so I can do whatever I want. Now, the easiest way to do that is to download the latest version of Audacity using 3.7.4. You can get that from audacityteam.org. I'll put the link in. But basically, all you need to do now, they've made it super easy, is click the Get Effects button here. And you want to grab these OpenVINO AI tools. Now, the cool thing about these OpenVINO tools are they are completely open source and they're totally free. And if you've ever seen apps, for iPhone or Android or whatever, that'll do this kind of thing where it separates voice and drums, I guarantee you they're probably just using this OpenVINO tools. They wrap an app around it and then they charge you something for it. But nope, we just want to do it for free. So we're going to click on Get It on MuseLab. So we're going to get these OpenVINO tools here. Let's grab the installer. Alrighty, now just go ahead and save that into my downloads. Actually, no, this is, let's take a step back. Let's be careful here. It looks like it's trying to install this Muse Hub thing. I don't think we want to do that. We want to get those OpenVINO tools without some kind of a weird third-party thing here. So here, let me search for the OpenVINO Audacity. There we go. Okay, forget about that button. That thing is going to try to give you some kind of, I don't know, commercialware. Forget it. We want to go here. I'll put that link in there. So this is probably a common mistake. I'm glad we discovered it. I thought that would be a super nice, easy way to do it, but nope. We just want to stay on audacityteam.org/download/OpenVINO. We're going to get OpenVINO for Windows. Yep. So I'm just going to click that. I'm going to go ahead and download that into our downloads folder. Okay, so some of these models are actually pretty big, and it might take us a minute to install it, but since this is a one-shot video, we're just going to run the installer and see how long it takes. Okay, so I've used these before. I actually have a tutorial video on how to do use some of these speech-to-text models to generate like subtitles for videos. But what we actually want to mess with right now are the music separation model. So for now, I'm going to turn off all these other ones because we don't need to we're not trying to do transcription. We don't need noise suppression right now or music generation. But I would say that these are all very interesting things to play with, right? But really our music separation model is only 98 megabytes. So let's go ahead and grab that. Okay, I'm going to install it. Okay, so it'll use your GPU if you've got a NVIDIA GPU. Otherwise, you can do it with the CPU of your computer. All right, forget about this Muse Hub thing. Okay, so now that we've installed it, I'm going to quit Audacity and start it again. I don't need to save this. Go ahead and run that again. Okay, now we need to make sure that those plugins are actually available. If you go to Effect, and we see here we go, OpenVINO, and we've got OpenVINO generation, but that's not really what we're looking for. We want to actually have that stem separation model. So I'm going to go and check out the preferences here. Okay, we want to look at effects. Okay. We also need to look at modules. We need to make sure that we've got the OpenVINO modules installed. So let's look in here. Oh, here we go. OpenVINO is enabled. We don't need MuseHub. We can disable that. Yeah, that looks pretty good right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring my song in again. Let's see if we've got this, because I didn't see the stem separation in there. So what we want to do, just double click on your file and it will highlight the whole thing. And we'll look at our effects. There we go. Music separation. Okay, so the reason we didn't see it, we didn't have the file open and loaded up. But once I've selected it and I verified that everything was enabled in the preferences, I do see my music separation. So there's a couple different ways you can do separation. So stem separation is just instrumental and vocals, but what we want are 4 different stems, which is drums, bass, vocals, and everything else. And then we can do GPU if we have a, actually, you know, if you do have an AMD GPU, you could definitely try this. But I click on my device details. I do see that I have GPU. Actually, it's weird. It's only seeing my Intel graphics card. This computer does have a 3060 in it, RTX 3060, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really going to take that long anyways. Let's look at the advanced options. Shifts. I don't know what that means. Doesn't matter. Let's just separate some stems. Here we go. A few moments later. Yeah, I'd say this is actually pretty fast, considering what it's doing. Now, one thing I really like about this stem separation is that when you play the file back with all of the stems in place without changing the volume, it is very similar to the original. Now, each stem, you might hear the tiniest bit of artifacts if you're an audiophile person, but most people aren't really going to care. These stems are quite useful, and I'll play them individually so you can hear. It's almost done. Boom, look at that. We have 4 different stems as advertised. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mute the original here, and we'll take a listen to each of these stems. So this should be, looks like drums to me, or maybe not. I don't know. Let's see what this one is. Yep, these are drums. You can hear the weird effect that I put on there. Cool. All right, let's listen to this guy. What's this one? Yep, that's the bass. So, you know, each stem has a little bit of like weirdness to it, but like I said, when you play it all back together, it sounds like the original. So it's kind of picking and choosing what parts of the original to use for each of these stems. But the cool thing is, like, if you're mastering or you want to remix a song, you can apply effects to these stems, and what you end up with is actually really pretty magical. Let's listen to this one. This must be the everything else stem. Guitars and a bunch of noise, and this should be the vocals. So I have a lot of computer voices. That's interesting. It even found, see, I have voices with just crazy effects on it. I have a famous programmer that's actually sampled in here, and I actually covered that up because I didn't want anybody to get mad, but you can actually hear it in here. That's pretty interesting. But here, let me actually just mute the original, make sure that's not going to play, and I'll play the whole thing back. Sounds like the original. Let me mute the drums. If I put the drums back, mute the drums. or mute the bass. Pretty cool. So that's how you can separate the stems, in Audacity, and your results, especially if you're using something more traditional. I have a lot of very strange sounds in here, so I was probably trying to figure out what the heck I was doing, and is this a drum or is this a synthesizer? That's okay. But if you actually are doing like a standard rock or pop or hip hop where these models were trained on, I guarantee you this stem separation is going to be much more accurate and much more musical sounding. But that's how easy it is to do. Like I said, you just install those OpenVINO plugins, make sure they're enabled, and run that stem separation. So hope that helps, friends. And if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. Cheers.